least that playoff spot for Kansas City is slipping away. Well, they've got to get back in it right here.
I was about to say, forgive me for being cliche, but this right here is the biggest play of the game so far.
Pass is complete to McNair. He's got the first down. Out to the 30, the 40, the 50. He'll be caught, but he gets to the 30-yard line or the 29-yard line of San Diego. It was third down and 6 at the 5, 65 yards of the play of the game.
Terrific call by Joe Pendry and the offensive staff of the Kansas City Chiefs. A screen pass right in the middle. You'll see McNair hide right in the middle. Right. Henry Rawling has him man for man, but can't make the tackle right there, and he's off to the races. Nice move there by Todd McNair. Interesting point yesterday. Marty Schottenheimer told us they didn't put him.
We talked to Harvey about his on Halloween of '93, and I want to talk to you about this here. Just watch this highlight below, and you can tell me what you remember.
Picture yourself trying to cover this kickoff right here, and watch this hit that Tracy Johnson gets on Todd McNair. Man, I'm telling you. And it looks like really he was out on that when he hit the turf there, Dan. I hope he's okay.
Well, there were 3 different injuries. You just saw Michael Bates get hit. He walked off the field limping, and that is still Todd McNair on the field. Several of the Chiefs gathered around the 20-yard line to see on the condition of Todd McNair, the 5th-year player out of Temple. Also shaken up on that play was number 80, Fred Jones, but he has since been helped off the carpet, and he is apparently all right as we continue to wait for McNair.
We've got some good rules in the NFL. They do not let you block low below the waist where somebody could get hurt. But what happens, Dan, you're covering 30 and 40 yards sprinting full speed. In this case, you know, Todd McNair coming down covering that kickoff is sprinting 30 or 40 yards. Tracy Johnson gets a run of 20 yards going the other way, 10 to 15 yards to 20 yards the other way, and gets a hit. I mean, that's a lot. That's like being in a car wreck, I'll tell you.
Well, let's take another look and see exactly the impact here.
Here you see Tracy Johnson setting up right in the middle of your screen right here, and you see Todd McNair coming in right there, and just a hit that caught him right underneath the chin, it looked like, and we hope that he's okay on that. Certainly those things always worry you anytime somebody gets hit like that, and particularly some of the things that's happened to us the last couple of years in the NFL. Dan, that's one area that you're always worried about, the neck and any kind of injury to the head like that.
Yeah, well, the good news was it did not appear that his head was involved in that injury. It looked like the hit by Tracy Johnson was just underneath the right shoulder pad, but he is still down.
You can see you can see McNair already on the ground right there, Dan, and I think that really he just got rejected by that hit.
Well, it's always scary when the player is completely motionless, and we have not seen Todd McNair move in the last several moments. There is an anxious Marty Schottenheimer. Well, the Chiefs have the early lead here, and we have a break in the action. We'll be right back. Well, the cheers you hear inside the Kingdome. Good news, Todd McNair has just gotten up off the field and apparently seems to be okay.
I think what happened there is I've actually walked down the field as a coach and looked down, Dan, and these guys will actually be snoring. They get hit so hard. They're out, really. I think Todd just got a little nap there. Thank goodness.
Well, it's good to see the
He got back
smile.
up, and he's back to the sideline.
You know, Todd, if that would have happened today, the announcers calling the game would have been a lot more nervous, because that was about, they went to 2 commercial breaks where you didn't move. And if that happened today, that would be really scary. 2 things, Todd. What do you remember about that play?
Absolutely nothing. I didn't know it happened. I ended up seeing it somewhere after I retired. You know what I mean? I never knew it happened. Like I remember the Houston one. I thought the Houston one was worse than that one. So
Hey, let me tell you this, Shane. When he got up, he came to the sideline. He was cracking jokes and talking shit. That's all I'm And I say, dog, like a day later, I said, you got your ass tore up, right? And we just, Todd was the comedian of the room, man. And, that was a wicked hit. But like I said, Todd, they call that selling out. You can't, jump around. You going out on special teams for kickoff. You can't go right or left. You got to stay in your lane and, run through the grind. That's exactly what he did. So,
there were some high caliber players on special teams. Todd McNair, Dale Carter, Albert Lewis. I mean, these were like players that were needed. Todd, when you look back on that, do you, I guess what I want to ask is, do you have any lingering effects from that concussion?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't have any disabilities or headaches or anything like that. I mean, I got a little temper, but I don't think it's from the concussion.
Yeah, I think we all do. Yeah.
But I don't
that's
have
what
any.
That's what Harvey said he suffers from now. Go ahead.
Because I had a few of them. Because they were getting ready to give me a Kelso helmet. They were getting ready. They were giving me that. Remember Kelso from Buffalo? That had a big helmet. He had concussion. Man, I'll retire before I wear that thing.
Yeah. You was too cool for that. Yeah.
I was cool for that. Then I remember. The Houston hit was worse because I listen as I came to. I was in Camden, New Jersey. I was leaving I was driving out of the car wash. Just as sure as we're sitting here talking right now, I was driving out. I wiped my car down. I pulled out on Federal Street. And all of a sudden, it's like the stadium was like kind of blinking in and out. I'm like, what the heck? I'm thinking about football. And then it switched. Then I was in the stadium.
That's crazy.
On Google, man, they said Todd McNair had an out-of-body experience. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Look that up. When you see what Tua had to go through, what do you think about what would you do if you were his agent?
I mean, us looking at it from the outside, outside in, you say, you might want to retire or chill out something because his were really, the effects, the fingers and all that stuff,
right?
And the repeated times that the times that it happened. You got to worry about him, but you can't tell a warrior,
right?
What I mean? Like there's a lot of old boxers, you know what I mean? Ali, he might have a fight or two too many,
Hey, but, when you go talk about $200 million too, Todd, like that's bro. So that's probably 99.9% of it right there. So
absolutely, because you're like, as a man, a father, a husband, you like, man, look, I'll take it for them.
Right. Correct.
So that's like you said, Harvey. That's probably 99% of it. Like, you're selfish and sacrifice yourself for your family, for the future of your family. I don't know.
Hey, Todd. Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com here. How are you?
Hey, Scott. I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing good. We've talked about your affiliation with Kansas City, dating back a while. What's it like to be a Chiefs Ring of Honor member and play against your team in the Super Bowl here?
It's pretty exciting, especially NFL Network had aired our AFC Championship game from back in '93. Excuse me. That's the closest I've ever gotten to a Super Bowl before now, and brought back a lot of memories and stuff, and so it's pretty exciting to go against our old team.
Away from your time there, because you obviously started your career there and then finished it here in KC?
Well, I mean, from a player development standpoint, we had an incredible staff. Marty was I really respected Marty a lot. He taught us a lot from an approach to the game, studying, being a student of the game and preparation and stuff. And he was a great teacher. And we had, throughout my career there, we had Marty Schottenheimer, we had Tony Dungy, Herman Edwards was the assistant DB coach, Bill Cowher was the defensive coordinator, we had Art Shell on the line, coaching the O-line, we had Alex Gibbs, the O-line guru, coaching the late Howard Mudd, coaching a lot. We had an incredible staff along the way. So, you know, we learn a lot of football, you know, from, like I said, a mental approach and preparation, everything about it. And then Kansas City was such a great place to play. You know, the fans were amazing. You know, I had a great time there. Went to Houston for a couple of years. You know, frustrated with you know, my workload, and coming right back and retiring. So I really had a great time there. I loved it. Loved the fans there, and you know, it was great.
Hey, Todd, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
What did you see back in those Temple days that made you think that Bruce Arians could reach this level, or did you see anything?
You know, it's hard at that level because you don't know that level. You know, we're just came out of high school. Now we're in college playing. We knew, I knew that he was a good coach, and you never questioned whether he cared about you. You know, he had your best interest in heart. I don't care how hard he is on you, and all of that. You understood, even as a young guy, as a kid, you understood that it was coming from, you know, a place of love. You know, so, you know, that part of it. You know, he was a great motivator, great coach, and he's a great person. You know, we never questioned BA's loyalty and how his genuineness, and that translates on any level. You know, at that time, we don't know what the NFL is about and what it, you know what I mean. So I couldn't really speculate on that, but we know as a man and a coach, you know, he was always going to be successful.
Quicker to recognize the flight of the ball. DeBerg out of the shotgun. Inside give to McNair. Big hole for McNair. First down and then some. All the way inside the 20. Nancy Glenn finally caught up with him. That's the way we head to the 2-minute warning. And here's to each side. McNair the only one to the backfield. DeBerg with pressure coming. Dumps it off. McNair wide open to the 5. He's in. Touchdown Chiefs. They saw the blitz coming. They were sending.